Hey, in this video, we are going to try to clone Slack using a service called Lovable, where you just have to give it some images and prompts, and it'll kind of do most of the heavy lifting of when it comes to the coding part for you. And here we'll be using Lovable and Supabase to implement our backend, because most often what I've seen is it kind of works really well, but then the backend kind of suffers. So let me show you what I have so far. So we have these two windows up here. So these are two different users. So I can say here working, and this appears within here and here. So if I go into this, I can click on here, open this within a thread, and I'll say thread 1. So you see instantly there's a reply that's appeared over here. So I can click on this, and this is the reply, and I can react to it with an emoji, and you'll see that emoji appear here in real time as well. And I can come in here, click on the create new channels to create channel, and as you'll see here, I've already set up my image and the name. So if I come to the profile page, I can upload my image, which all gets uploaded to my storage within Supabase. So you'll see that we have profile pictures. We are setting up authentication as well. So if I click on log out button, we have this nice little welcome screen where you can either sign in or sign up, which is all powered by the authentication part within Supabase. And then we have the design for the database, and all this with just 25-40 prompts approximately, and about 30 to 40 minutes. And this is really surprising because I tried to build a similar app in the past, which took me like 3 to 4 months of doing all the thinking and implementing things. But I'm really surprised by using Lovable, and it was able to generate a working application which is ready for publishing, because authentication is there, the database, the users, everything is there for a minimum viable product. This is great, and let's get into it, see how far we're able to get with this. And like always, if you found this video to be useful, like the video and also subscribe to this channel. The core feature that we are going for is actually this channels, where all the user can post messages in that channel. Of course, there are other features within Slack which we are not going to want, but I feel once we get the channels, we should be in a good place, because that would cover most of the use cases that we want to try within Lovable. So just as a design reference, what I can do is I'll take a screenshot of this image and then I'll paste it in Lovable. So let me just bring this over, upload images. So you can do this with as many images as you want. Next, we'll start typing a prompt. So I have a basic prompt ready over here. So all I'm saying is create a Slack application clone with these features, which are all listed over here. Ability to create new channels, which we saw in the image. A user can post image into a channel, and user can also delete their own messages. User can reply messages within a thread. Now we'll also provide an image for this thread as well, just as a reference. And I'm saying I want users to be able to react with emojis, and we are very particular on the UI UX. So I'm saying follow the style of the reference image over here. For real-time messaging, we'll be using a service called Pusher, and for data storage and authentication, we'll be using Supabase. So I've provided this information as well. So let me go over here. So I've just found image of a thread. So I'll just screenshot this and put this in Lovable as well. So I can just drag and drop over here. So we have two reference images now. And to tell you a bit more about these services, we have Pusher. So I can come to pusher.com. So you'll see this is a really good service to get you up and running with real-time messaging between people. So we'll be using this. And Supabase is many things built into one package. So if you're familiar with Firebase, then Supabase is the open source alternative of it. So there's authentication, there's a Postgres database, there's edge functions, like if you wanted to use this as a backend. So all these things are here. So we'll be using Supabase. So going back to Lovable. So this looks good as a starter prompt. So let's give it a try. So it looks like it has started doing some things over here. So you can see the chat and the history. So it started to type some messages over here, and it looks like it's building some things. And on this side, we have the previews. So it looks like it's asking me to connect to Supabase, and we have the Supabase integration up here. So let's give it a go. So I can click on connect Supabase. So down here, we have connect Supabase again. Let me click that. So within Supabase, you can create a new organization. So all of this looks okay. Let me just create an organization over here, and then we'll follow on by creating a new project. So it looks like the project is being set up. So we'll give it a few seconds. So once you're done setting up your project within Supabase, you can come back to Lovable and click on the connect Supabase again, and you will be presented with this screen where you need to authorize. So let me just click on authorize Lovable. So now we are connecting to Supabase from Lovable account, and I'll just come in here and say proceed and see what happens next. So it looks like it's starting to do something, but then there was also an error. So when there's an error, there is always a button that shows up over here saying fix. And if you click on that, it tries to fix it. Now it went up to here and then kind of stopped. So I asked it what else is pending, which is a good way because you don't have to redefine all the prompt that you had previously worked on. So it's given me a list of things like authentication not implemented, channels not implemented, messaging not implemented. So basically none of this is implemented except some basic layout. So it asks me if it should proceed with the recommended authentication. I say proceed, and let's see what it does next. So with the Supabase, you need to click down here. So previously you connected Supabase account. Now you need to connect to a project. So let me just click on this. Right. So now we get this notification saying Supabase is connected, which is reassuring. So now we have the database table being set up. So if I just make more space for this piece of code, so we are creating a table called profiles, channels, and messages, which if I remember, those were some of the things I mentioned. There's also reactions, and these are all the migrations. So if I scroll to the bottom, it says apply changes. I'll just hit apply change. Let's see what will happen next. So look like that was done. Now it has outlined the remaining parts like the authentication system and the main features, and it's asking me, would you like me to proceed with implementing authentication? Sounds good. So I'll just say proceed. So now it looks like it's creating some pages for authentication. So let's give it a few seconds and see what we get. And while it's doing that, you can also click into this and you'll be able to see all the code that it is generating as well. So this is particularly useful if you're familiar with coding an application, but if not, you can always hit exit and just look at the preview window over here. So now it looks like it's done even more. So we have the authentication preview over here, which looks really reassuring. Kind of looks okay as well. It's not too bad. And now it's asking me, would you like me to proceed with implementing channel messaging? This is great. So I haven't done too much prompting except asking what is missing or what is pending. And it seems to be doing things on its own, which is very reassuring. So I quickly want to jump back to Supabase and see what it's done there. So if I come to my project within Supabase and go to databases, which is the one that we just worked on. So we have a few tables that it's created, which is good, but I love the schema visualizer over here. So if I zoom in here, so we have reactions, messages, channels, profiles, and authenticated user ID, which is all looking good. So if your application particularly gets really complex, then coming here and visualizing your database schema within this visualizer is a game changer. So if I come down to authentication tab, I see there are no users. So let's quickly jump back to Lovable and see if we are able to sign up or if we get any errors here. I'll just use a temporary user email for now from a service called temp email, and I'll just create a dummy user for now, see if this works. I'll hit sign up. Okay, this is interesting. Now it says password should be 6 characters, which is perfectly fine user experience, I believe. So let me fix that. So I just copied and pasted it twice and then hit sign up again, see if there are any more errors. So it says check your email. We sent you a confirmation email. That's interesting. Let me jump back to my temporary email and see if we got anything. Okay, so in my temporary email, I do see Supabase authentication, confirm your email is perfect. I'll just click on this. So it looked like it worked. So if I come back to authentication within Supabase, I do see this user email over here. So I can go back to Lovable and log in. So when I log in with that username and credential, it is bringing me back into my welcome to Slack clone. So this is looking good. So without any coding, we've actually implemented a really interesting authentication. And usually when you've tried to build an application yourself, authentication is the part which kind of seems like the toughest, but this is really cool. With just few prompts, we were able to solve all of this. So let's keep going and see how far we're able to push this. So it's asking me, would you like to proceed with implementing channels and messages? Okay, that sounds like a reasonable thing. So I'll just say proceed. So now it says I'll proceed with implementing all of this. And so it says first we need to set up database table for real-time functionality. Okay, this is interesting because I asked it to do real-time features using pusher. So I'll just see how far it's able to remember and use my requirements, but I'll just say apply changes to see how it works. So now I see that there is a channels in the sidebar with a plus button. Hopefully this creates a channel. I haven't tested it yet. So when I click on this, looks like it's bringing a dialog box where it says create new channel. There's channel name and a description. So let me just say this is general and description is general updates. Let's see if this works. So it kind of gave an error, and now it's also popped up this box saying I can fix it. So I'll just say try to fix, and it's automatically put this prompt in here, and then it's working its magic. Let's see if it's able to fix it. So it's kind of done a debugging and also proposed a solution over here where it's saying there's some missing profiles and it needs to fix this. So I'll just say apply changes. images. So it fixed the issue with the Supabase database. Now it's modifying the auth page to ensure profiles are created properly during sign up, which is reasonable. Okay, let it do its thing and see what we get. So now it also did some migrations so that the existing profiles and users are also connected in somehow. So let's see if this works now. It says it should. Let me click on the channels and let's go back to general again, and we'll say general updates, create channel. Great, now the channel has been created. So if I just click on this part has changed to general updates, although this is still the same, but that can be fixed. I can also come into Supabase tables and channels. Let me see what this looks like. View in table editor. Of course, we do see text general and general update over here, which is really good. We also have the creator ID, which should be also linked to my profile, and indeed it is. So this ID was exactly the same as the creator ID with the channels, and we have few more fields like created date and updated date. So I'll just come back in here and say what else is pending. So it has identified that the messaging component and the thread support is pending. So it's asking, would you like to start with implementing the messages component? I'll say proceed. So here it has come back saying it has implemented the basic messaging functionality, and I do see we have an input box over here when I've selected the general channel. So let me just say hello. Okay, the messaging works because I see the message over here, but then the username is unknown. We don't have a profile picture either. So what I'll do is I'll just take a screenshot of this and give it back to Lovable. So I'll just drag and drop. So we have that screenshot. I'll say that the username is unknown and profile pic is question mark. So now it's created a settings page over here. So if I click on this, you'll see that we have a way to fix the username and also change the avatar. But I see for the avatar, we need a URL. But if you come to Supabase, there is definitely a way to store things here. So let's give it a prompt to see if you're able to upload images, which would be really tricky if you were doing this on your own. But let's see if this is able to handle it. So all I'm saying here is in profile settings page, I want to be able to upload profile picture. Let's store this in Supabase storage. Let's see what this comes back with. So it looks like it's done some updates over here. So we do have an upload picture button, and then of course the username as well. So let me just upload a picture, see if it works. So it does say success, profile picture updated successfully. So we do have a picture over here. Let me come back to Supabase and go to storage, refresh this, see what it has done here. So we have a bucket called profile pictures, and within there we have the profile picture stored in the backend, which is really amazing. Now let me also change the username to Vinay and save changes, and there we go. It brings us back to our chat window, and the initial message that we sent, hello, is still up here, and the timer is here as well. So it looks like it's working. So let's go back and ask what else is pending. So I don't know how big the context window is within Lovable. So if I asked it what else is pending in comparison to my initial app request, it kind of gave me some list of things which were very recent, not the initial message. So what I had to do was I did this. So this was my initial request. So I copied the entire piece of text from the first message and said what else is pending in here, and then it was able to pick up on the stuff that it has missed. So let's put a tick mark against channel. It works, messaging works, deletion isn't implemented, threads isn't implemented, emoji reaction isn't implemented yet, and it also says needs some basic styling. So this is really good. It's able to evaluate itself and give me a list of things that we can proceed with. So I'll go with let's implement deletion functionality. So now it says the delete functionality is implemented. So if I hover my mouse over the message, it gives me this delete icon. So if I click on this, it says message has been deleted, but I still see this in the UI. So I'll just say I get the message deleted post message, but the UI did not update. I still see the image and I still see the message and it's still visible. So let's see what Lovable is able to do in this scenario. So looks like it has picked up that we need to handle the delete event and it's updating the component. So looks like that message disappeared automatically. Let me say hello 2 and see what this does. Okay, so this does appear here. Let me say hello 3, hello 4. Okay, so we have this. Let me delete hello 2 and see if this works. So looks like it didn't work. So I'll go back and say the message is still visible. So I guess this is the back and forth that you have to do with these AI tools, but I'm really impressed with how far we're able to push with just a few prompts. And these things are fine if we're able to go back and forth and fix it in a few prompts. Let's see if it's able to handle this. So it says it's fixed. Let me delete hello 2 and see if this works. Okay, it works. Hello 2 is gone. Let me type a few hellos again. Hello 5, hello 6, and this time I'll delete hello 5, see if this works. Perfect. Hello 5 goes away. So the delete functionality is working. So I went back and asked what else is pending, and it's picked up thread replies, emoji emoji reactions and UI refinements are pending. I'll say proceed with thread replies. So it looks like it's done thread replies, at least from the messages. So let's give it a try and see if this works. So if I hover my mouse over it now, I get the delete button and this comment button. So if I click on this, so it opens up this modal where we have the heading called as thread, but this message is weirdly placed in the center of the screen. But anyways, let me say world. Okay, so looks like we are in the thread. I'll say world 2 and let me try to delete world, see if that works. So within the thread, the delete functionality is working on the back end, I think, but then it's not updating the UI. So let me close this thread, and if I reopen it, okay, so now the messaging is gone. So I'll just put this back into prompt and say what went wrong. So it says it has fixed the deleting within threads issue. So let's go back into threads. So let me try to delete the second message, world 2. Okay, so that is working. So I can come back here. So it looks like thread feature is kind of working, but then the UI is not exactly what I was looking for. Because if I come back to Slack, so in this image, we see these replies over here and the thread is kind of taking up half of the screen. So it'd be good if we are able to replicate this. And I know this is challenging. So let's just give this screenshot back to Lovable and see if we're able to tweak the UI slightly so that it's in this format. So I'll just take the screenshot of this, go back to Lovable, drag and drop it here. So we have that screenshot, and I'll just prompt it saying we need the threads to look like we have in screenshot. With this prompt, it was able to update the UI. So I just said, make it look like this UI over here and put it in a sidebar instead of a dialog box. So I do see we have this 2 replies now. So if I click on this, it kind of opens up this. Let me actually zoom out slightly so that you'll be able to see the full UI. So this is how it looks like. We do have a nice close button. And if I click on 2 replies, it's open up this sidebar. So I can say world 4. Okay, so that works. Let me just type in the main message, hello 7. So when I type in this message over here, I see that the reply count did not update. So that's one bug. But I do see here we have 3 replies. So that's kind of good. And all these little things we can go back and forth using the prompt and fix it. But I see that the main functionality where we have the messaging, where we have the threads, it's all working, and it kind of looks like Slack, but not that much. But I guess those are the things that we'll do in the UI refinement. So it kind of came back and said everything is implemented, but I know we haven't implemented the emojis yet. So I said we haven't added emojis, and that's when it picked up on it and it started implementing within 2 prompts. It was able to implement it, but I haven't tested it yet. So let me hover my mouse over it. So we do see an emoji icon. So let me just click on this and give it a thumbs up. And indeed, so we do have a thumbs up appearing here. If I go into my threads, let's see if this works over here. Let me add an emoji for this, and it does indeed work with emojis. Let's add another emoji, see if we have 2 side by side. Yeah, so it does pick up multiple emojis as well, similar to Slack. This is really good. So we have this within our general channel, and what I want to do next is actually test it with multiple users, see if it works. So I'm on completely different browsers now. So what I can do is click on this icon, which opens the preview in a new tab. So let me sign back in. So this was the initial user that created. I can sign in, go to general tab, and I do see this is working. So let me just copy this link and then go to Safari and do the same. And here I see the sign up authentication again, which is great. So let me just put in another email. So this is another temporary email. I'll just paste the password as well and do sign up. So we need to confirm again. So let me go back here. So once that is confirmed, I can come in here and sign in, and we are in the app now. So if I go to general, I see the user over here, and let me just type in from this user, and we do see that the message appears here and here as well, which is great. And I can do all the things that I did over here. I can go to my profile page and update the profile user avatar and also the username. Let's check if the channel creation is working still. So I click on this, let's say channel 2, and I created channel 2 over here, although I see that channel 2 did not appear here in real time, but that's fine. I can always refresh this and hopefully it shows up here. Okay, channel 2 shows up there. So maybe not you want that to be real time, so you can go back into Lovable and start tweaking those things. But just by spending about 30 to 40 minutes on this from the time I signed up to all these services like Supabase and Lovable, we are able to get a working application, and all you have to do here is now go to publish or put it in your repository and keep working on this, and you can give users access as well. So I've used Cursor and I've used Lovable. I feel like for this simple app, I felt Lovable was much better because I'm able to see in real time or at least in as we go, we are able to see the changes in the UI, whereas with Cursor, I have to go in back and forth. Maybe there's a way to do it within one VS Code extension, like integrate the browser as well, which I haven't figured out. But I love the experience of Lovable so far. And to get this basic functionality working, I would say I maybe used about 25 to 40 prompts. And those were all just giving it prompts to ask what's not implemented and fix some errors. So I never had to touch any code in here, which is really surprising. Whereas in Cursor, I would probably go in and start looking at the code directly. But yeah, let me know what you think about this and give your ideas, whatever you may have, or try within Lovable and see if you're able to deploy an application, working application. And if you do that, let me know in the comment section what you're able to achieve. And like always, if you found this video to be useful, like the video and also subscribe to this channel, because I want to bring more of these kind of videos where we use low code tools, no code tools, but also we also implement some AI agents using coding based methods as well. So I want to go the entire spectrum. So if those kind of things are interesting to you, then watch out for the next set of videos.